Well, I'm out for another short stroll today. No radio. I was doing some tests with the Verb 30 Ultra, trying to see whether I managed to cure the distortion I was getting on the audio. I put the camera in its waterproof case. Before, last few times out, it's been in a sort of a semi-naked case, allowing access to all the inputs. But today it's in the waterproof case. See how that goes. And I've also made a little bit of a wind baffle. Dead kitten, I suppose, or dead cat, the audio people call them. This is very small, so it's a dead kitten. So yeah, I'm going to walk up on the top. There's not much wind down here, so I don't know whether we'll notice it. It's a bit windier on the top of the seawall there. So I'm going to walk up there and see how we go. Look out for the snakes today. It's the sort of day when they're out. Oh, bit of a surprise there. You can probably hear the wind, the birds, but it's getting close to high tide. It's a high tide every fortnight, and as you can see, the salt marsh is under seawater. That's what makes it such a good ground. And there we go. We're continuing the walk a little bit now. Not gone very far, only 10 metres I think, but we'll carry on walking until it gets really difficult underfoot. Then I'll pop down into the in the lee of the seawall out of the wind. So it should be a good test here to see whether the little wind baffle is doing any good. It's just a piece of fur, well, fake fur fabric from a car wash mitt, actually. Just fastened on over the microphone area with a couple of rubber bands. If it does work, I'll make something a little bit more permanent. So the main thing is to see whether there's any distortion when I'm speaking. I'm speaking in a fairly normal voice at the moment. Probably, that's about now would be what I would use for speaking into the microphone. So it'll be interesting to see if there's any distortion when I actually download it onto the Verb software for making into a video, and then see if there's any distortion after I've loaded it up onto YouTube. I won't be putting it for general viewing, I don't think. Well, I'll put it in there for the public to see if they're interested, but I won't be posting it on any websites. Well, I won't be walking on the salt marsh today. That's for sure. Get my feet wet. You can see how it's coming up now. Quite a lot of the area is really flooded now. Probably half a metre or something like that, 2 feet of water. The problem with that, of course, is that you can't see any channels. It's sort of brackish. Well, it's not clear water, and you won't see any channels, and you'll fall in the channels and get stuck in the mud in the bottom of the channel. So, not a good place to be when you can't see where you're walking. Well, the wind's blowing directly into my face. Well, just a little bit from the left hand side. So this should be a good test of the wind baffle. It won't, of course, get rid of it all. It's not nothing scientific about it, but it might help. Be interesting to see whether it does. Wind isn't quite as strong as it was on Saturday when I did the other test, but I can still hear it sort of making a noise around my ears under my hat. So there we are. one last look at the salt marsh underwater, and then make my way down the bank, down the seawall, and oh, that I think that's a swallow. I don't know if you can see it. There's a swallow there. Quite a number around, and we heard cuckoos the other day, so summer's definitely here. Late spring anyway. Yes, it's a nice swallow. Okay, going down. Okay, back down again. I'm going to walk along the path. Before we get to the field, this is barley, by the way, field of barley, 2 fields of barley. Getting ready to make the beer, or it's a basic ingredient for beer, of course. Much less wind down here, as we're sheltered, of course, by the seawall here. These bushes here are sloes, like a tiny little black damson or plum, and not good for anything very much, but if you add them to gin and macerate them for a good 3 months, you make an absolutely delicious sloe gin. I come and collect them most autumns and make 3 or 4 bottles, which unfortunately didn't last very long. So I'm at the place here where I go through this little tunnel, we might call it. So I take the backpack off, set it all up and switch everything off, and then just go home. But here I'm going to walk through. So there's a tiny bridge which is an old railway sleeper which is rotting, so I have to be a bit careful on that. I'll go into the field of barley and then switch off. And there's the rotting railway sleeper bridge. Here we are in the field of barley. There we go. Oh, we'll go back and see how that's turned out.